Mahendra, we were classmates in college, and you were more actively involved in student agitations then. What are your memories of it today?
See, basically, second by part of student movement actually got started somewhere in 1976 with the leaders like Desmond DeCosta, Mohandas Loliekar, Cleopat Putin, and from north, Satish Sonak, Cyril Pashek.
Subodh Gerkar.
Subodh was not the leader of the Singh by students agitation. He was only part of the Singh by medical reservation
Reservation
issue. He was never considered as a leader. Avinash Bhosle was very much part of the Singh by this movement.
Yeah.
Avinash Bhosle, Bana Besapeko.
Who died? Who passed away?
Bana Besapeko.
Sorry,
Cyril Pashek.
Cyril Pashek who died.
Even our Umesh Mamro was part of this.
So what were the issues that came up there?
See, basically, first to start with, they took a very sensitive issue of this bus fare.
Students were demanding 50% concession.
No. Basically, there was there used to be a big void, and at that time in all the colleges there were a lot of this demand from student community, and there was no good coordination between the management and the student councils. So all these students from various colleges were not satisfied with the management aggression, so-called aggression. So they came together and formed Students Union. That was called All Goa Students Union. This was the AGSU. So AGSU, under the banner of AGSU, this student union took up that 50% concession, very popular issue of student.
In 1978?
1977. 78.
On New Year's Day 78 it was given into.
Yeah. So 77, 78. All this thing by infrastructure was this thing, but they did all the infrastructure in 1977 and launched the agitation in 1978.
And if I'm not mistaken, on New Year's Day 1979, the 50% concession was given to all students all over Goa.
Yes, correct.
When we were in the SSC.
We were in the SSC, yes. So we were not actually part of that, but partly we took part in that agitation, being school student.
Correct.
We were supported this agitation. Next was medical reservation. During our time, we were in 11th standard at that time. Medical reservation.
The Congress had just won and Sheikh Hassan was the
minister.
And I think the issue was that some 2% seats were kept for Muslims or something.
The reservation issue was there. So that time there was second. Third was a Marx scandal, big agitation.
Involving the niece
of Francis Sardina and Shalini Sardina. Niece of Francis Sardina.
Okay.
Very beautiful woman.
Okay.
So that was the thing. Then second part of that Marx scandal was takeover of secretariat for the suspension of education minister. They had taken over. EGSU separately took over the secretariat, and a few leaders went inside and had an assembly. Students' assembly.
And through pamphlets and took over the assembly.
Took over the assembly and had a assembly session of students.
People's assembly.
Students' assembly.
Students' assembly.
And then it was Bodhitala. Bigger agent.
Which was basically plans for a
capitation fee.
Capitation fee based college.
Capitation fee based college in Bicholi. One of the cousin of then Central Minister Narsingha Rao was involved.
I see. P.V. Narasimha Rao.
P.V. Narasimha was involved with the then Education Minister of State Education Minister Mr. Zatia.
Okay. Zatia had a stake in the project? Or?
Zatia had given some land to this project.
In Bicholi?
In Bicholi. Later on it became Zatia College.
I see.
Same side.
Same side?
Same side.
Interesting.
Then there were a lot of smaller agitations took part. Then,
but those days there was a lot of social ferment.
Those days there was no much of a drug scenario was not as big as this. Socialization was not there because there were no parties, that nightlife was not there. Used to get more active in studies, either in studies or in sports.
Yeah.
Those were the only medium. Third was the student problems and all.
But you cannot deny that I think the student protest was part of a wider, statewide, nationwide, global
Economy at that time.
yeah, attempt to, kind of...
There was this big void, and I think this at that time there was a stagnation on front of this before 10 years before that there was a stagnation on student union part. There was no students union, so that stagnation gave birth to this student movement.
Ferment. So this carried on till maybe you can say 80s, little bit in the 90s.
Last student, as a student, we took part in the last bigger agitation, that was Homely agitation. Before that, we had formed PSU. We broke away from AGSU on
political lines,
and we formed by much of a communist-oriented organization, thought organization, that was Progressive Student Union.
Yeah.
And we, under the Progressive Student Union, we also took part in various social issues, not only student issues.
Yeah. If you look at the student movement then and the student movement now, it's totally dead today.
Student movement, independent student movement is not there. There is a political student movement affiliated to political parties. So guidelines were given by political parties. Independently, today's students are not thinking independently. They are thinking on the guidelines of political parties. So there is a ABUP, there is a Congress organization, NSUI. So independent student union and local student bodies died.
What was the most memorable episode or incident that you had in all your student politics?
Most memorable was Voditala, where we had a thing with Lati charge in front of People's Assembly.
Okay.
We were Lati charged by then Collector JP Singh, today's Chief Secretary.
Okay.
And that was the most memorable thing. And
I remember
we
the
won the
photo.
agitation only on the basis of that Lati charge.
And there was a photo, a famous photo that came out of that Lati charge, which was by Sandeep Naik. Sandeep Naik from Marcella.
Who was with Navin Times.
Who was with Navin Times, subsequently went to the Gulf and all that.
Khalid's time.
So that photo showed the policemen lifting their lathis
atrocities on student. That all
over some very thin-looking, weak girls.
Yeah.
Who were those girls?
I don't remember now. Who were those girls? I don't remember.
But that photo was made very famous, I think.
Those were not the leaders of the movement, but those were followers from the local colleges. Innocent students. They were beaten up by police.
Yeah.
And that particular incident gave us boost to win that agitation.
But the photo actually showed the policemen lifting the lathi over their head. And they were covering in that sense. And the photo was a very close-up, very kind of a close-up photo, and it was flashed on the front pages of Indian Express or Times of India. I think Indian Express.
In
4 columns.
4 columns.
And then it was made into a postcard and sent all over by people like Sergio Carvalho. And
Sergio was that time. Sergio was social activist.
And also a lecturer at
Nirmala's. Yes.
So those were good times. You look back at them with.
Those were the time where there were a lot of improvement on the social ground, social field.
Yeah.
People were more concerned about social problems. Today's society is different. They are more about commercial.
Yeah. So everyone is caught up in our own things today. We don't.
No. More in a commercial thing. Goa becomes whole of Goa become one city today. That time Goa was divided into 4-5 cities, and we had no much of a business then.
Yeah. We didn't think of business.
We had a lot of time for socialization, a lot of time for communication. Even then there was no money.
So in the PSU, what was your role? You were in the drama side?
I was more on the planning side. We used to plan. We was more concerned about planning, about all the agitation. I was not dramatist.
I see. You were not on the front lines.
I was in during agitation. I used to be on the front line, but before that we used to make a plan and we used to execute.
So it's quite a tough job.
It is on the grounds of communist ideology.
Okay. So you have
without
a small
planning, we used to never have a agitation. We used to plan agitation according to the time.
And it used to work? Your plan?
Used to quite work, quietly, because we won all the things by agitation what we fought.
I see.
100% right.
Really?
Really.
But the police took you all as a very serious kind of threat in those days.
No, police used to get frightened of us, not like today's police. They used to get frightened of us. We used to hardly, they used to hardly arrest us under preventive detention, 151. Police used to be quite sober at that time also.
It was not
so corrupt, so system was not so corrupt. Police were not deceived by, not recruited through getting money from under the table.
So there was a better system.
Senior officers were quite social at that time.
So in one word, if you want to remember those times, what would you say of them? In one sentence. Good, bad, you'd like to see them again?
I would like to see them again and again.